doing this. All right, I'm talking
Good.
to Raquel and Sergio today. Tell people about your film Becoming Vera.
Becoming Vera is the story of a young piano player who is trying to make her mark in the world of Latin jazz.
Oh yes.
Oh,
And tell people what are important and interesting components to know about Vera's character.
Uh,
yeah.
Go for it.
um, Vera is what I would describe an old soul. An old soul. She's quiet. She's observant. She thinks before she speaks. But don't be fooled because she's quite a firecracker. Piss her off in the right way. But she's incredibly talented and she's always looking out for her friends, Jake and Danny, and she is a hard worker above all else, and she's dedicated and she's passionate and has an intense drive to get what she wants.
Mhm. That's a great answer. That's exactly what Vera is. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about her relationship to music.
Mm.
Well, the music, I'm a drummer, not a very good one, but still, I mean, I sometimes try to, play a little bit. And I'm always been a very, a great admirer of people who really, they are very good at their instruments, especially, difficult instruments like piano, art, things like that. And my wife is Cuban. She got me introduced to Latin jazz, and I guess that I put the two and two together. My admiration for great musicians and my love for Latin jazz, and that's how we created this story surrounding this music.
Amazing. And what's your favorite jazz track?
My favorite jazz, well, my favorite Latin jazz track is called Manteca.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually one of the first ones that came out in the 40s. Latin jazz is a music that originated in Harlem, even though many people think it was originating. It happened in Harlem when jazz musicians they got together with Cuban musicians, and Manteca is one of the songs with Dizzy Gillespie, and I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm sorry, but it's an amazing song that everyone should hear.
Oh yeah.
I'll add it to my playlist. I didn't know. Go.
Yeah.
Okay, Raquel, what's your favorite jazz track?
I knew this was coming. I don't listen to jazz, but I was actually going to pull up her Spotify playlist that I created for her, which
Ooh,
I have to go back into the crypts for because I haven't used it in so long. But
this is kind
yeah,
of
I
fun.
usually, after a playlist, I usually like to place it away or shelve it just so it, you know, stops me. Oh, I got a new Spotify playlist. Dang. Okay. I'm no longer in my old Spotify. There was one
No.
song on there though, and I wish I could remember. I remember the image briefly, but I'm sorry to say I don't have one.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So this film shows Vera being taken advantage of. Have either of you felt like you've been exploited in the past?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I think as a young woman in this industry, there have been points in my life where I've felt like I've been taken advantage of, and also just in my day-to-day life. You're always going to have those run-ins, unfortunately. You're a woman in this world, and that's how it works sometimes. And I'm not alone in that. I'm super grateful for that. But I, at that moment in time, thankful as I had good experiences, and so I was really pulling instead spoke down to me specifically. I hated that feeling. I hated being demeaned in that way or undermined in that way. So for Vera, I really pulled from all the times that I heard from people like, you're not going to make it. You're not pretty enough. You're not talented enough, you don't have the resources to get there. And then being able to defy all those things, it's just such a nice ego boost, but also very rewarding in that way. So.
Yeah.
All right. And do you have a message to those who have a harder than normal life, like Vera does? Everyone has a hard life, but some of us have a harder life.
Mm.
Yeah, yes, I mean, I always believe that if you have a passion, you can overcome anything. Because you're gonna have that drive, that light at the end of the tunnel, or place that you are going, right? So that's what we are trying to say with the film. Vera, we don't want to reveal the ending, but yeah, but I mean, she understands that that she has to follow her dream, she has to follow her passion, and I think that's like I'm saying, it's if you have a passion, you have a drive, and you always try to get better and be better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were there other movies you were studying while making this movie?
I Yes, I mean, the way I like to describe this film is sort of like the Goodwill Hunting of the Latin jazz. Yeah, so Goodwill Hunting is one of them. Also, Billy Elliot, it's another one, and a bunch of other films that I don't want to reveal. I don't want people to search for.
Yeah, we don't want to give the cheat code to this movie away.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Mm.
And what was your CineQuest experience with this film like?
You want to go ahead, Raquel?
Yes. Well, personally, that was the first time I ever saw the film.
Ooh.
So that was alone for a personal experience, very, very special. And I got to see it with almost our entire cast was there, which was wonderful. We did walk away with the audience award, which was so wonderful and such a pleasant, amazing surprise because we had known nobody in California, which was one of the things we were like, okay, well, we're going to CineQuest, but let's not. We weren't expecting that certainly. So it was incredible because these were not people that had any biases toward us. Like Sergio, it's honest voting. And that meant the world because that meant that it really touched people enough to say this should win this, which was so lovely. And I mean, people were just coming up to us left and right saying how much it impacted them. And there's nothing more rewarding than someone saying, I didn't know about this, but I'm going to do more research about it, or I'm going to go tell so and so about this. And that's the goal that I wanted to walk away with, and I did. So it was lovely.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, that to add a little more about that, she just said that it was the first time that she watched the film. It was the same for the whole cast. And then, I remember that they sat all of them in the same row, and I said, and they were telling me like, I sit with us, and I was like, no, I can't. I mean, you guys are gonna hate sitting with me because I was so nervous. I sat behind them, and I was putting my my hands in my in my eyes. I couldn't movies too slow, movies too fast, right?
Oh my
Like that,
God.
right? And then at the end, when when the lights went up and I saw their faces and I saw the producer next to me, he was actually almost in tears, and that feeling of saying like, okay, so they liked it, which is great. Let me see the rest of the audience. I think they liked it too. Okay, now let's go up and do the Q&A. So it was an incredible. I mean, to me, it was an incredible experience to see these guys, their faces, and see that they actually they enjoyed the film, they liked the film, they were proud about themselves as they should, and proud about the film. That meant the world to me. And the audience award. So perfect weekend.
Bam.
Yay. So the movie set it in Miami. So tell people what the city is like to work in and the role the environment plays in the movie.
You're from Miami.
I am You are also, funnily enough, Sergio, a little invisible string theory. And I live about like 10 minutes away from each other, and
Oh.
we had our whole lives, and we did not realize it until I went over to his house to shoot. But anywho, the role in the film. I mean, I'm from Miami. It has such a special place in my heart. Every single, I mean, shot that was taken, and it was also a pleasant surprise to me because some of the shots I wasn't there. The still shots of the landscape, I was like, oh my god, I've been there and I did this when I was a kid, and I remember passing that house when I was small, and so it's such a personal connection. Most of my entire family is from there and still lives there, and I'm away in college right now, but every time I come home it's just such a blessing, and now even more so because it reminds me of this film. um but Miami, Latin jazz, Cubans. I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Cuban, so it's just such an obvious aspect. It's such a lively city. There's so much sound and there's so much beauty around it, and I think it's such an essential part of the film because I like to think of it as the exterior of Vera's interior soul. That was just me kind of reaching for a character analysis, but it is true. I think what she blossoms into is like such a culmination of that city. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, and it was very important what she just described. She described the way, Miami is seen through the eyes of a local, right? And that's what we wanted to do. I mean, Miami, we have an island in front of Miami that is called, Miami Beach, and obviously that's a spring break hangout. That's the place where you go to party. That's known as that. But then there's a local Miami that it's very much alive, and it's amazing, and we wanted to to portray that too.
All right, amazing. Well, Raquel and Sergio, thank you so much for your time. It was fun having a little
Thank
chit
you.
chat with you today. What do you want people to feel when the end credits roll to your film?
um, we wanted to we want them to feel good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want them to feel like I'm saying that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, for them and for their children and the people they love. If they find their passion, they're going to be well. They're going to be good.
Absolutely. I
All
agree.
right, well, take care, and I want both of you to enjoy life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael.
My pleasure.